As London-based office workers, Jayne and I are always looking for ways to make our journeys around the metropolis that little bit more refined. So we were happy to be loaned out the handsome Fiido D4S e-bike, which we then put through a series of exacting urban tests concerning ease of use, storage, range, and of course speed on the hill climbs. Welcome one and all to e-biking without mercy. Well, welcome one and all to Bike Racing Without Mercy. Today's video is going to be slightly different because the good folk at Fiido, having seen Jayne, Scale, Alpe d'Huez and Galibier, have sent us their very best D4S e-bike to give a go. And we want to give it a rigorous trial here in London to see if we're going to purchase it in order to go out on a few little cycling adventures together. Now, as I say, it's going to be a very rigorous test here in London, starting with the most important question, well, one of the most important questions for Jayne. Is it easy to set up without hurting her delicate little hands? Yes. And for those of you who are, well, shall we say, a bit more vertically gifted than I, will it fit you? Yes, I think so. Does it pack away easily? .5 kilograms. Yes. And does it come with a charger and all of the tools needed to set it up easily? Yes. And as an aside, it's always nice to have a few more Allen keys. You show me the person that hasn't got any Allen keys in the house, and I'll show you the person that doesn't shop at IKEA. I'm informed IKEA don't actually use Allen keys. You know what I mean. So does it fit in the boot of my car? Yes. And does it fit in the boot of my car, part 2? Et voila! No. Is it easy to operate? On, battery, setting 1. 25% pedal assistance. Setting 2, 50% pedaling assistance. Setting 3, 75% pedaling assistance. And then, its magic little trick, one that you might like, Jayne, a little twist, like a motorcyclist, a little twist of the wrist, and you got 100% pedaling assistance. And if the battery fails, more of the battery in a minute, then you've got manual gears. You probably won't be using those, will you, Jayne? I don't think you're going to be using those. Not the manual gears. Anyway, on to the next question. Is it powerful enough to get me to my gym? I think we'll go for number 1. Yes. Will it get me to work on time for my commute? Yes. And critically, will it go up Swains Lane? Yes. Now the question is, can non-cycling Jayne make it up the lane they call Swains? Yes, she can, majestically. And now for the most important question of the day. Which is fastest on a drag race up Swains Lane? Me on the Colnago, there it is, or Jayne on the Fiido? Which do you reckon?
I don't think we need to answer that.
Confidence, quietly confident. Oh, cheeky, head start. Full gas, Jayne. I had you. Was that full gas? Jayne was on 75%, but didn't use the accelerator. So what are Jayne's and my initial impressions for the Fiido D4S? Well, they're excellent, certainly as a commuter bike. One charge just takes 7 hours, and with 25% pedaling distance, i.e. level 1, that gives you anywhere from 60 to 80 kilometers, and on level 3 about 50 kilometers. And level 3, as you saw, is more than sufficient to get you up some pretty steep hills, including Swains Lane, at about 15 kilometers an hour at about the steepest part on Swains. So more than adequate for the commute. As you also saw, it's pretty practical, it's easy to stow away, easy to fold down, fits in the boots of most cars, not all cars, and I think it's okay to maneuver. I think probably the 18.5 kilograms is a little bit heavier than the Brompton, and that in turn makes it just that bit harder to maneuver when you're not cycling it. But when you are cycling it, it's very smooth, very nice to ride, very comfortable, and definitely as a commuter bike, we really like it. However, if you're looking for something to tour around the countryside, the big mountains, that kind of thing, I do think you need something with slightly bigger wheels. Jayne was making the point that actually it's harder to get going initially than, for example, the Villiers mountain bike or the Pinarello Nitro that she's been riding as well. And I think also the range is a bit better on those, and they're just better suited for the larger, more demanding terrain of the countryside and the mountains. And unlike me, if your commute involves a little cycle to the station, getting on the train, and then off at the other end and cycling into the office or work, well, it's still perfect, provided of course there aren't too many steps at the station. You wouldn't want to be lifting this 18.5 kilograms up too many stairs. I guess it is therefore heavier than, for example, a Brompton, which of course doesn't have the electronic option. And turning now to the question of value for money, currently clocking in around £550, $750, I think that makes the Fiido considerably cheaper than many other e-bikes certainly I'm aware of, and therefore exceptional value for money, certainly in its main role as a commuter bike. Very much like it, and definitely considering whether or not to purchase one.
And if you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, we'd be extremely grateful if you would. Cheers.